priority of the agents of the implementing agency and the fiscal space of the government. Obviously, there are many more PIPs than what can be potentially accommodated at any given fiscal year because of that fiscal space issue. Now, with respect to the readiness, I think this is a readiness of the LGUs of the project for implementation. This is where we need a lot of institutional strengthening for LGUs, especially in project preparation, in preparing feasibility studies, and if it's a complex program, doing a detailed engineering design. And here, DefDev, under its new chapters, given that mandate to facilitate the strengthening of these LGUs, particularly in resource mobilization, monitoring and evaluation, project preparation, and so on. And just to give credit to where credit is due, Mr. Chair, when we raised this issue about lack of budget preparation and lack of support for our RDCs to the President during one of our discussions, the President is the one who actually said, let's support more RDCs work funding. And that's why the increase there in the RDC budget is because of that's the instruction of the President. And we hope that we can expand that more, because there are clearly a lot that our RDCs can do if they have the resources. And obviously, the LGUs would not fund these RDCs because they would rather spend for their own LGU rather than for the funding for the interest of the entire region. But that's where I think the national government can come in. And so we appeal to Congress to provide more support for one, institutional strengthening of the LGUs. Providing, we can start with for example, the DAP program to expand its program to target the institutional strengthening, like project preparation, project management of these LGUs, particularly for the third, fourth, fifth LGUs who don't have much resources to send their people for capacity building. And then the giving more resources to the RDCs who have are on the ground to do to be able to move around, see what do some. I think this is also part of the issue in the regional monitoring and evaluation committees. We have good committees, and they're supposed to know and able to monitor this various infrastructure projects, including flood control projects. But they don't have resources to be able to do that function, especially as difficult region as a Mimaropa, where you don't fund. They're so kalat, the mga provinces there. So that mobility cost is a problem. So that's one, and then let's give more resources, as I said, to the other one that I find also quite missing is, Mr. Chair, is the lack of appreciation of what monitoring and evaluation can do. We don't provide enough support to good studies, doing impact assessment, monitoring assessment of completed and ongoing projects, especially for completed projects, so that we don't keep repeating mistakes over and over again. We don't know that we are making mistakes because there's no information, available information to inform that those mistakes. And these are not expensive activities. If you do it right, scientifically, it's quite they're quite cheap, and the benefits are enormous if you are able to stop non-effective programs or simply wasteful programs and projects. So again, let's provide support to R&D, monitoring and evaluation. Mr. Chair, just to share my experience in the 2012 to 2015 during the Aquino administration, Congress was able to provide more resources for monitoring and evaluation to NEDA, and then we turn around and provide those resources to some of those resources to our partner agencies, particularly PIDS, and then we were able to get a lot of studies that help inform the quality of infrastructures and programs. And many of the problems that we are seeing today are basically the lack of continuity of that kind of exercise, because when we left, that thing was discontinued, was no longer funded. So let's put more resources into good studies. And there are many good universities all around the country. We can use them as channels for, say, DevDev or PIDS, doing partnerships with these research institutions, and they should be able to produce those informative studies that can get our projects chances of succeeding.
There's also a need to reform the budgeting, the planning and budgeting process, and the planning and budgeting coordination. I'll give you a very specific example. I think you were also there during the DBCC hearing, that we understand that when the DPWH endorses a project, it's taken as gospel truth and ends up in the NEP immediately, as opposed to, let's say, the RDC endorsed. The RDC endorsed projects, the local government units, nag-mayor ako, dadaan ka talaga sa butas ng karayom, which is good, no, to be endorsed by the RDC. Dadaan ka ng butas ng karayom to be included in the RLIP, the Regional Development Investment Program. Para ma-approve pa na RDC, dadaan ka ng butas ng karayom. And this is good in my opinion, because that means the vetting process is working, diba? Making sure that the local projects are aligned with PDP, no? Pero pagdating sa DPWH, pag nag-endorse yung DPWH, gospel truth na siya. Automatic, papasok na siya sa NEP, no? Which is totally, in my opinion, contrary to what we want to achieve, which is planning and budgeting, no? And that's a clear evidence of that is the unprogrammed funds, no? We understand that once DPWH endorses projects to tap into the unprogrammed funds or unprogrammed appropriations, kaagad linalabas na, no? Unlike the RDC, may vetting process. Itong mga ito, walang vetting process, no? So the point I'm trying to make is, all of these things that we are seeing right now is a product of poor planning, poor coordination, and poor collaboration between planning and budgeting, no? Kaya talagang maraming pumupunta dito ng mga local government units asking for additional funds, and at the same time, marami ring mga projects sa DPWH nakakalusot na hindi naman in line with PDP, no? I bet you, ako, makikipagpustahan ako, yung mga flood control na yun, hindi yan in line with PDP, no? Pero yung mga RDC, dapat in line with PDP, diba? Yan naman yung basic, dapat in line siya with PDP. So, let's use this eye-opener. I think nagising lahat ng tao, no? I think because the process enabled corruption, or the lack of process enabled corruption, because the lack of process and the weak processes that enabled contractors to fill in the gaps, dun sila pumasok ngayon and enabled corruption. So we need to use this opportunity to talagang clear up all of these gaps by strengthening our process. May process tayo, hindi lang nasusundan, hindi lang malakas. No? And that's what I want to correct this coming 2028. And I think DepDev will be the best agency to look at the entire process and plug the gaps, plug the loopholes, and strictly follow it. And I'm happy that the president, I know that the president, he was a former governor, that's why he knows the process. And I'm happy to see that additional funding was given to Regional Development Council activities. But if we need to add more, not only dito lang, but also the coordination between budgeting and planning, then let's do that. Because pag hindi natin maayos itong proseso, Secretary, ako nakikita ko, ngayon lang natin ayusin ito, baka 2020, babalik na naman tayo sa dating proseso. 2029, ganoon na naman yung proseso. So we really need to fix the process now and put money in fixing that process.
Agree with you completely, Mr. Chair. And key to that is really the integration of the processes of DepDev and DBM. Because if we can see, for example, that if DBM can see quickly without leaving their desk that a project submitted to them is not in the PIP because that their system is linked, can communicate, can talk with our system, then they can say this is not PIP, this should not be here. I mean, I think that way, and I hope we really we succeed here. Mina and I have been talking about it, and his DBM support is there, and we just have to get our acts.
Yeah. To do that this coming 2026 already, Secretary. Are the funds itong 265 million? Is that the amounts needed to fix the process?
No, that's not a separate exercise, Secretary. That's for the internal use of the RDCs for their own support. But our investment programming group, chaired here by led here by our Yosek Capuno, together with DBM, our counterparts in DBM are working on that system of integration, because I really feel that is what missing. My comparison is the national income account compilation of data, Mr. Chair. There, lahat ng mga sector, subsector, all the rest of the may number may code, and that is code is uniformly used across the agencies and even across countries. If you say rice or a variety of rice, may code yan. So we can easily do the same thing for a project. This is a irrigation in this province or region, in this province, in this barangay. It's so easy to create those, and then you use the cloud and even AI to easily track that. It's possible, and we ask for your support. We need more resources to get that going. And
in the net, those two accounts or those two items receive 107 million in additional funds. So if you think that we need more in order to do that linkage, please submit to us a position paper. But Secretary, baka after 1 year wala na ito sa media, makakalimutan na ng tao. And then if you don't fix the process, babalik na naman yung dating gawi. At pag bumalik yun, then balik tayo sa original na problema natin. So let's go back to the basics, fixing the RDCs, empowering the RDCs, fixing the process, linking planning and budgeting so that we can increase the batting average. I think that is parang hindi na sila pumunta dito, hindi na pupunta sa congressman, hindi na pupunta sa senator. lahat sila punto na lang ng RDC because the batting average will go up anyways. No?